So we are at the end. The actual end. 10 years of movies, 8 films, and it all comes down to this. The shortest entry in the entire franchise. They saved the literal apocalypse for the shortest movie they ever made, and somehow that feels exactly right. This is the Deathly Hallows Part 2 recap, which means we're covering the Battle of Hogwarts, the death of Voldemort, 17 emotional gut punches, and more than 200,000 fake coins that someone had to manufacture just for one bank vault scene. The production team spent more on fake Gringotts gold than most countries have in actual circulation, and the movie is still shorter than Goblet of Fire. We're going to get into all of it. The movie picks up exactly where Part 1 left off, which means Voldemort robbing Dumbledore's grave. He pulls out the Elder Wand, holds it up, fires a bolt of magic into the sky, and the title card hits. That's the vibe we're working with. No warm-up, no easing in, just immediate grave robbery and a power flex. Meanwhile, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are still at Shell Cottage trying to figure out their next move. They've got one Horcrux destroyed, several left, and a goblin named Griphook who knows how to break into Gringotts. So naturally, the plan is to disguise Hermione as Bellatrix Lestrange, smuggle Griphook in under Harry's invisibility cloak, and just walk into the most secure bank in the wizarding world like that's a completely normal Tuesday. And here's the thing, it almost works. Hermione as Bellatrix strolls through the lobby, they get into the vault, and then they find the Horcrux. But Griphook takes the sword and bolts, the alarm goes off, and suddenly they're trapped in a vault filling up with multiplying treasure that burns anyone who touches it. So they do what any reasonable person would do. They climb on top of a dragon that's been chained in the basement, break it free, and ride it out through the ceiling of the bank. Into London, on a dragon, and nobody in the movie ever really addresses how insane that is. They just land in a lake, swim to shore, and move on. But that's important, because the dragon escape does two things. It tells Voldemort exactly what they're after, and it gives him time to start fortifying Hogwarts. So now the race is on, and Harry knows the next Horcrux is somewhere inside the school. They get to Hogsmeade, nearly get caught immediately, and are saved by Aberforth Dumbledore, Albus's brother, who's been running the Hog's Head pub this whole time. He's grumpy about it. He opens a secret passage behind a portrait of Ariana Dumbledore, and on the other side of that tunnel is the Room of Requirement, packed full of every student who refused to cooperate with the Death Eaters running the school. It's one of the better visual moments in the film. You see how bad things have gotten just from the faces in that room. Harry figures out the Horcrux is Ravenclaw's lost diadem, and to find out more about it, he needs to talk to the Grey Lady, Helena Ravenclaw's ghost. And this is where the movie almost had a completely different energy, because Kate Winslet was nearly cast in this role. Her agent turned it down. So instead of Titanic's Rose casually haunting a staircase at Hogwarts, we get a different actress who does a perfectly fine job, and we all just move on with our lives. Helena tells Harry the diadem is hidden in the Room of Requirement, which means going back in there. And this is where Draco shows up, because of course it is. He's there with Crabbe and Goyle, except Crabbe has been quietly replaced by Blaise Zabini with zero explanation. At one point a character basically goes, "Wait, who's that?" And the movie just shrugs and moves on, because the actor who played Crabbe ran into serious real-life legal trouble and the film quietly swapped him out and hoped you wouldn't notice. Anyway, Goyle, who is doing Crabbe's job from the book, summons Fiendfire, which is a cursed fire that destroys Horcruxes but also destroys everything else including Goyle himself. Harry saves Draco and Blaise because of course he does. They escape on broomsticks, the diadem is destroyed, and one more Horcrux is gone. Outside, the Battle of Hogwarts is fully underway. This is the sequence the whole series was building toward, and the movie delivers it. McGonagall animating the Stone Knights, the shields going up, everyone who stayed behind choosing to fight. It's genuinely great, and somewhere in this chaos, Hagrid gets captured entirely off-screen. The biggest, strongest person in the wizarding world, a man who once punched a mountain troll, is just already caught when we check back in on him. The film would like you to simply accept this. Then comes Snape. Voldemort pulls Snape into the boathouse because he's figured out that the Elder Wand isn't working properly, and he thinks the reason is that Snape is technically its master. So he has Nagini kill Snape. And this is where things get interesting behind the scenes, because Alan Rickman was apparently not happy with how this scene was initially staged. He felt it was over-directed. But it worked, because what we got is one of the most affecting moments in the entire series. Snape gives Harry his memories, says, "Look at me. and dies looking into the eyes of the boy who had his mother's eyes. Harry takes those memories to the pensieve and finally gets the full picture. Snape loved Lily Potter his entire life. He protected Harry because of her. He was working for Dumbledore the whole time. And the last thing Dumbledore ever told Snape, the thing that broke Snape in the memory, was that Harry himself is a Horcrux. He has to die. Voldemort has to kill him. So Harry does something genuinely remarkable. He just goes. He walks into the Forbidden Forest, uses the Resurrection Stone to say goodbye to his parents and Lupin and Sirius, and then lets Voldemort hit him with the killing curse. And it works, kind of. Harry ends up in a limbo version of King's Cross where Dumbledore explains that the part of Voldemort's soul living inside Harry is what died, not Harry himself. He gets to choose to go back. He goes back. Meanwhile, Neville gives possibly the best speech of the entire series in front of the Death Eaters, because Neville Longbottom peaked at exactly the right moment. Then Hagrid carries Harry's body out of the forest, thinking he's dead, and Voldemort does a victory lap in front of everyone. Draco gets called over to the Death Eater side, and Voldemort hugs him. And here's the thing about that hug. It wasn't in the script. Ralph Fiennes improvised it completely on the spot. Draco's visible discomfort, that look of absolute, "Please release me," on his face, is real. Tom Felton had no idea it was coming. The filmmakers saw it and kept it in, and it became the single most uncomfortable hug in cinema history. The animation can linger there as long as it wants. Then Neville pulls out the sword of Gryffindor and cuts off Nagini's head. Harry reveals he's alive, and the final battle happens. Voldemort and Harry chase each other through Hogwarts while Mrs. Weasley takes care of Bellatrix personally, which is one of the most satisfying moments in the franchise. Eventually Harry and Voldemort end up in the courtyard. Harry explains the whole Elder Wand situation. The wand never actually belonged to Voldemort, it belonged to Draco, who Harry disarmed weeks ago, which means it belongs to Harry, and Voldemort fires one last curse that rebounds off Harry's, and Voldemort just crumbles. No explosion, no dramatic exit, he just sort of falls apart and dissolves. Which is either deeply poetic or a little anticlimactic depending on your mood. There's actually a deleted scene from the video game tie-in, a scene that was filmed for the actual movie and then cut, where Draco hands his wand to Harry during the climax. The real intended ending got demoted to a PS3 game that maybe 12 people finished. The real ending is still good, but somewhere out there, the other one exists. Then we get the epilogue. 19 years later, platform 9 3/4. Everyone's older, everyone's got kids, and Draco is there with his son and a woman at his side who was played by Tom Felton's actual real-life girlfriend at the time. Even Draco Malfoy's happy ending was nepotism. Honestly, respect. And that's it, that's the whole thing. 10 years, 8 movies, one kid who found out he was a wizard, survived everything the darkest wizard in history could throw at him, and walked into a forest to die because it was the right thing to do. The story earned its ending. Now here's a fun footnote before you go. Part 2 opened in theaters against Winnie the Pooh. The 2011 one, and while Harry Potter obviously won at the box office, Winnie the Pooh actually got better reviews. So after everything, the dragon, the battle, the Elder Wand, Snape's memories, all of it, a small honey-obsessed bear got more critical acclaim. Cut to Pooh waving smugly at the camera. That's the real ending. If you want to go back and watch the Part 1 recap before this one, that's linked right here. It covers everything from the Horcrux hunt to the Tent Depression arc to Dobby's genuinely unfair death. And if you've been watching these recaps and you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time, because there's a lot more of this coming. Drop a comment with your favorite moment from Part 2, whether it's Neville's speech, Mrs. Weasley's line, or Draco's face during that hug. Because I genuinely want to know, and the algorithm genuinely appreciates it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.